Welcome to Rounds. Rounds is a roguelike 1v1 indie game that was released in April of 2021. The premise of the game is first person to 5 points wins, and if you lose a round, you get to choose a power-up that will assist you and alter the way the game is played. It's fast-paced, exciting, and at times hilarious for both players, and can be played locally or online. The power-up combinations can get to be pretty crazy, making for some really interesting matchups. In a quest for some of the best power-up combinations in the game, I played 10 hours of rounds, and this is what happened. Our journey today begins here at the first of 3 games that we'll be looking at in the video. In this one, I ended up playing against my friend Ryan. I quickly realized that using blocking power-ups, which activate every time you use your parry ability, were what I personally was best at. Because of this, I decided to go with teleport, and although it may not seem like the best decision every time, for me it always makes the game a lot more fun. And in the early game, it certainly paid off, with my unpredictability beating Ryan's speedy bullets for 2 consecutive battles to win me the first round of the game. Because he lost, this meant that Ryan got to choose an ability of his own, and he went with Big Bullet. I tried to pull off a fancy move with a teleport, but he was able to react, and with the power-ups he took, there was no way I could dodge a bullet from such close range. I tried some more maneuvers in the next battle, but I ended up getting outplayed. Fortunately, in this game, when you lose, you literally get to become stronger. After a lot of thought, I ended up going for the power-up Taste for Blood. This is a really interesting one, and I got it with the later stages of the game in mind. With Taste for Blood, if you do any damage, you increase your movement speed for a few seconds, and with some ability combinations, especially ones that use blocking where you need to be up close, Taste for Blood can be extremely powerful. After hitting a shot that was highly skillful and not at all because I got lucky, I was able to win my second round, and the power-up decision was back to Ryan. His choice of burst would make things difficult for me, because with big bullets, he effectively had a combination of a sniper and a shotgun. I nearly lost the round, but I was able to use a cheesy strategy of hiding behind boxes and timing my teleports to come back and win 2 battles in a row. Ryan chose Spray as his next power-up, and now my odds went from bad to worse. My teleport wouldn't be very helpful if his strength was close range as well. But my next power-up would change everything. I got Supernova, a power-up that if used correctly can be absolutely devastating. Ryan's ability combinations would prove to even still be too strong for the next round though, as nearly every time I got close, I would get torn to shreds. This time I opted for Frost Slam, hoping that if his movement was decreased even more, and if I timed my play around his reloads, then I would stand a chance. Fortunately for me, I was able to get a little bit lucky and win the round with a Supernova. As we approached the endgame, Ryan ended up choosing Dazzle. With the amount of bullets that he had, the odds of me getting stunned by one of them were very high, and things were not looking too good. However, his long reload time would ultimately be his downfall. I was able to get close enough to teleport forward and block his own bullets back into him to win the first half of the round. All that I needed to do now was just win a single battle and the entire game would be mine. It started off with a quick flurry of bullets. Both of us took a lot of damage, but he would end up a lot worse than me. I knew because of how low he was, all I would need to do is just catch him with the edge of my Supernova. So I decided to send it, all or nothing. Let me tell you, winning with that Supernova explosion is just about the most satisfying way I can think of to win a game of rounds. However, things are just getting started, because my next opponent was a random player, and the deciding factor was an ability even more chaotic than Supernova. My opponent's username was Fried Pickle, but we'll just call him Pickle for short. Pickle ended up opting for a poison build right off the start, which meant that I would need to do everything I could to avoid getting hit, because poison can drain your health all the way down way faster than you usually realize. I decided to choose Combine, which turned my build into a sniper, and the game got underway. We started out in a bit of a standoff, but after a long first battle, I was able to find the decisive shot. The next battle wouldn't take nearly as long, as I decided to rush Pickle early on, and I was able to one-shot him before he could really get a good chance at shooting me. With that, the first round was mine, and the power-up fiasco really began. He chose Remote next, which allows you to control your bullets with your mouse, something that's both difficult to use well and also very difficult to defend against. After yet another long cat and mouse style round, I was defeated by the strength of Pickle's newfound ability. But once again, I was able to just rush the next round and finish him off before he had the chance to snipe me. It would all come down to the final battle, but this time things didn't go my way, and I ended up losing the round. Fortunately, that did mean power-up time for me, and I decided to go all out on the sniper build with steady shot. This would not stay the case for very long, but my build was slowly developing. I missed my shot, but scared Pickle into falling off of his platform, which was purely by luck. Unfortunately, this luck would not last, as Poison got the better of me for 2 consecutive battles, and I was forced to choose another power-up. But this is where everything changed. The description for Radiant says that it spawns damaging sunwaves when you're reloading, and that the rate increases during the reload sequence. I don't think I can explain it any better than that without just showing you. Although it took me a little bit to get the sunwaves under control, all of a sudden I was the one on the attack, and before I knew it, I had won the round. Pickle opted for faster bullets, but his efforts were futile, and once again, after chasing him around the map, me and my sunwaves managed to win 2 consecutive battles and the round. The combination of powerful bullets and the close-range sunwave attack were just too much to handle. This time, Pickle went for glass cannon, under the reasoning that if a single bullet made contact, he would instantly win. And to be fair, this worked. He managed to win 2 battles, and now it was back to me. This is where my build got even more interesting, and just became a counter to Pickle's. I decided that even with his glass cannon, I would get tank, and hopefully avoid being one-shot. If this worked, I would theoretically be able to win the game with sunwaves. And, well, it did. Pickle's final power-up would be Defender, to try to counter my sunwaves and get him away back into this game. Unfortunately for him, this was not the case, as I dispatched him in the first half with the same strategy. In what could finally be the final battle, I accidentally jumped on the saw in the middle of the map. After Fried Pickle saw that even this could not kill me, he ran from my sunwaves to his death, forfeiting the game via a giant saw blade. The best takeaway from this game is that if used correctly, sunwaves are incredibly overpowered. My next game, though, is where power-up combinations really took center stage, as I had a matchup that ended up being just about as close as you can possibly get. My opponent was my friend Jacob, and after some deliberation, he went for a bullet build with steady shot. I had some good options as well, but I decided to gamble on getting Defender, which most notably decreases your block cooldown, as well as giving you some extra health. Our battle began with a showdown on some unstable platforms that resulted in Jacob falling to his death, but even this early into our game, things would still be incredibly close. After a standoff that involved bullets colliding into each other to prevent me dying, I narrowly ended up losing the round, and despite my best efforts to block his shots, I still lost in the tiebreak. But things were just getting started, as I opted for Echo over Radar Shot, fully banking on the hope that I would get a good blocking ability later on. Echo makes you block twice in quick succession instead of once, but on its own it's not the strongest. Yet another series of incredibly close fights resulted in a second tiebreak, where once again I would be defeated. It was time to see if my luck was in, and to my dismay, it wasn't. I didn't have a blocking ability that I could take advantage of, so I decided to get careful planning and try to go for an alternate way of attacking with powerful bullets. Although this wasn't the strategy I was looking for, I was able to lure Jacob close to me on our third tiebreak out of 3 rounds, and this time I was the one who was victorious. He decided to go for Healing Field, a very strong power-up if your opponent gives you the time and space to use it. I tried to keep my strategy of standing still and blocking, but after realizing that it wouldn't be effective, I went on the attack, chasing Jacob down and winning the first half. I was able to finish him off before his healing field could come into effect in the second half as well, and he realized that he would need a stronger power-up this time. The power-up in question would be a defender of his own. In our next round, tied at 2 each, we would go to our 4th tiebreak of the game, but this time I would be the loser. I needed a big power-up, and boy did I get it. Shield Charge gives you a similar effect as Teleport, but instead of actually teleporting, you dash through the air and you're invincible while you're flying. With my current power-ups, in theory, this would be very, very strong. Unfortunately, this power-up combined with Echo would actually be how I lost my next tiebreak. Because of how far you fly, on maps where the bottom is empty, if you lose control and fall with your dash, it's game over. Fortunately, in this case, it wasn't game over, just round over, and I had one final shot at getting a winning power-up. So what did I do? I turned my character into a bomber, and this is where everything completely changed. It turned out that my power-up combination had all of a sudden become very, very powerful. Jacob went for fastball, greatly increasing his bullet speed, but having fast bullets, as amazing as they are, don't help you when you're getting bombs dropped on your head. He put up a better fight, but I'd become too powerful. It was now tied at 4-all, and this round would decide the winner. Jacob chose Shockwave, and he used it in the next half to destroy the map we were playing on and create shelter for himself. My own bombs were the downfall this round, and I was defeated. As we moved into what now could be the final round of this entire game, I knew that my back was up against the wall. His healing field was looking like the difference maker, and I got reduced to just a sliver of health. This was it. One shot from anything, and it was over. One mistake, and my entire build would be a failure when it really counted. So I did the natural thing. I just sent it and went all in. Call it luck, call it skill, call it whatever you want. I had made it to the final possible battle of this game of rounds. We started off playing it incredibly safe, but then after a quick exchange, I was able to get the high ground. And from that point on, the game was won. A barrage of bombs lowered Jacob down to almost no health, but he knew that he could still recover with a healing field, because I was just at one shot as well. He was ready to dodge my bombs, but early on in the game, as a seemingly random pick when I had no better options, I had gotten careful planning. And almost like this was the plan all along, I had a chance to finish it all. And finish it I did. Game, set, and match on the closest game of rounds that I have ever played.